Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everybody's all doing well and enjoying their Sunday afternoon after what was a very good night of boxing, especially in the heavyweight division. Last night was a hell of a fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury knocked Deontay Wilder out in either the 10th or 11th round. I can't quite remember. It was a pretty brutal knockout. It was a pretty brutal fight. Now, in the pre-fight video, I think I predicted Tyson Fury to win by a late round stoppage in either between the 8th to 10th rounds. I think it was the 11th round that he actually knocked Deontay Wilder out. So the fight went similarly to how I thought it was going to go. I thought it would have been a little bit more one-sided, with Tyson Fury fighting a little bit smarter and dominating the fight a little bit more. But I knew Deontay Wilder was going to come in, pretty determined, and he definitely showed a lot of heart last night. He deserves a lot of credit for that. He said in the build-up he wanted the opportunity to go out on his shield. He got that opportunity. He ended up going out on his face down on the canvas, in what was quite a brutal knockout. Those types of fights are the ones that definitely end careers, because in my opinion, Fury, he's not a gifted puncher. I know he's fighting a lot more aggressive, and he's going for the stoppages as of late now with Sugar Hill and the Kronk style of boxing. But in my opinion, he's not a gifted puncher. He's a big man, and any big man in the heavyweight division can punch. So he's about almost a 300-pound man, so he definitely can punch. You saw the side effects of it on Deontay Wilder's face and his head. Once again, his ear's busted, bleeding again out the ear. But in my opinion, he's not a huge one-punch knockout artist, and I think that's showed throughout his career, because punches are not made, they are born. So he's being more aggressive, but in my opinion, he's still not a puncher. He's more of a boxer, but definitely being more aggressive. And we've seen in his career, he hasn't really got too many one-punch knockouts. He normally beats guys up, picks them apart, busts guys up round by round, and maybe stops them late in the fight. That's what happened last night. But like I was saying to one of my friends at the gym this week, I thought it was going to be a brutal beatdown on Deontay Wilder. He did a lot better than I expected. Like I said, it was more competitive than I expected. But I was saying to my friend at the gym this week that I thought it was going to be brutal for Deontay Wilder's health, and I thought this might be his last fight, because I was figuring, he's going to get beaten up really badly in there. And he did get really badly beaten up, but, it's because Tyson Fury, he can't quite knock Deontay Wilder out with one shot. Now, I know he did in the end, but it took about, 10 or 11 rounds of beating the guy up round after round, brutalizing him with haymakers for 10 or 11 rounds before Deontay Wilder went down. He was defenseless at that point and extremely fatigued. Those are the types of fights that end careers, and they can really do damage for your health, because, Deontay Wilder, before this fight, if you watch his interviews, he's already struggling to string sentences together, and you listen to what he's saying, and it doesn't make sense. It's complete madness what he's saying most of the time. And especially after the second fight against Fury, where, he got brutalized in there, bulldog badly. And now last night, he took another 10 or 11 round beat down, where he took a lot of headshots from Fury, because Fury doesn't have that one punch power where he can just knock you out with one shot. So the problem is, Deontay Wilder, he's not defensively blessed. He couldn't really defend himself in there, and he's got a guy in there that really isn't a one punch knockout artist who can't put him away. And he's not a great finisher either, as Tyson Fury. So he keeps buzzing you, because he has enough power to hurt you and buzz you. He's a big man. And so he keeps buzzing Deontay Wilder with shots that's got him staggering all over the place. And, they're hard shots, but they're not shots that are putting him out of his misery. So he's really just... It's a nightmare for Deontay Wilder, because the guy can't knock him out with one shot. I know he did in the 11th round, but, the guy's teeing off on him for 10 or 12 rounds, and, he's not knocking you out. So he's really torturing you and keeping you in there and just beating you up for round after round. Those are the types of beatdowns that cause, a lot of health problems for fighters, because Deontay Wilder was so fatigued, and he was, pretty much defenseless in there, just taking shots. And his corner obviously couldn't throw in the towel, because we saw what happened to Breland when he threw in the towel. So I thought this fight had the potential to end really badly for Deontay Wilder. The fact that he had told his corner they're not allowed to throw in the towel, and he doesn't really have the greatest defense and survival skills. But I mean, he showed a lot of heart in there last night. But I thought this fight had the possibility to end extremely badly for Wilder due to the fact of his corner being too scared to throw in the towel and Fury not being a one-punch KO artist. So I figured it was going to be a late stoppage and a brutal beatdown for however many rounds it went. And it did go like that. But like I say, credit to Deontay Wilder. He showed a lot of heart. And I think he did make a couple of adjustments under Malik Scott and a little bit of improvements. Obviously, he wasn't caught so off guard as he was in the second fight by Fury's aggression. So early in the fight, you saw Deontay Wilder start a lot faster and be a lot more aggressive. He used his jab a bit more, and I think the aggression early was important because Deontay Wilder on the front foot is a different fighter to Deontay Wilder on the back foot. So he had to be aggressive with Fury to force Fury onto the back foot. Therefore, he can come forwards, because once Fury starts to get coming forwards on Deontay Wilder really has no answers for Tyson Fury's attack, because he has no head movement, and he hasn't really got the greatest boxing skills on the back foot. So when Deontay Wilder's on the front foot, he's extremely dangerous, and we saw that last night. So he was using his jab a lot more, and early in the fight, when he was fresh, I think we did see some of the adjustments he made. He went to Fury's body a lot more. He was changing levels with his attack. He wasn't just head hunting. He was using a good jab to the body. He was throwing his right hand to the body as well. He was being aggressive, keeping Fury on the back foot. Fury did actually hurt Deontay Wilder right at the end of the first round with a stiff right hand that buzzed him. But we saw Deontay Wilder was using feints early, using his jab a lot more. I think he was even using a little bit of deception by, sometimes he would set the headshot up by looking at the body and then shoot his shot to the head, because he had Fury wary of the body shots with the jabs and the right hands to the body. So, look, he had a little bit more deception in his attack last night, which I was, kind of impressed with from Deontay Wilder, because that makes him more of a dangerous fighter, because in the second fight, his attack was just too predictable. He throws that lazy left jab out there. He double steps with his feet and, loads up with a big right hand that you can see from a mile away. Now, unfortunately for Wilder last night, he started doing that after I think it was the second or third round. Fury put him down, and may have even been the fourth round when Fury dropped him. Probably the third round. I think Fury dropped him at the end of the third round. Deontay Wilder went back to, what he knows best, and that's just loading up, headhunting, looking for the right hand to try and get him out of trouble. And, you can really see Deontay Wilder's right hand coming from a mile away, because he throws it from the back of the room. He doubles two steps with his feet. He's got the left hand out there, so the right hand's coming after it. I wasn't impressed with Fury's defense last night. As I said in the pre-fight video, with this new style of him being more aggressive, he's, a lot more susceptible to taking that big shot from Deontay Wilder. And also after he hurt Deontay Wilder, it was at the end of one of the rounds. It was the end of the third or fourth round. He didn't have enough time to finish Deontay Wilder. Otherwise, if that was at the beginning of the round, the fight may well have been over early. But it was at the end of the round, so Deontay Wilder was able to survive. And then Fury came out the next round and abandoned his jab. He thought he could just walk up to Deontay Wilder with his hands up. Deontay Wilder punched right through his guard, because Fury came face first in. You got to jab your way in, because when he was jabbing against Deontay Wilder and using his feints to, not allow Deontay Wilder to know when he's going to come in or not. So that keeps Deontay Wilder almost frozen. And the jab was freezing Deontay Wilder in that fight. When he hit Deontay Wilder, he had a stiff shotgun-like jab that was actually hurting Wilder, was doing a lot of damage to Wilder. It would throw his head up back in the air, which would set him up beautifully for the straight right hand. It was also serving as a blinder, which Wilder wouldn't then be able to see the right hand coming in behind the jab. But like I say, he abandoned his jab after he hurt Wilder. Thought he could just walk in, and start flailing wild hooks and get up close to try and bulldog and bully Deontay Wilder on the inside, which he can do once he gets inside, but you got to jab your way in. He stopped using his jab, and Deontay Wilder hit him with a straight right hand in the face. When Tyson Fury was in between the two distances, he wasn't quite at long range, and he wasn't quite on the inside yet at short range. So Deontay Wilder was still able to hit Tyson Fury with that straight right hand. Had he been on the inside, jabbing his way in, then Deontay Wilder's right hand it's almost non-existent. He slaps on the inside with right hands. We saw he was slapping Fury on the side of the back of the head with the right hand. He doesn't know how to fight on the inside at all. Deontay Wilder, he's not a natural fighter. He's not a natural boxer, but he is certainly a natural puncher with the right hand. Now Fury, like I say, natural boxer, but not a natural puncher. So luckily for Fury, once he got hurt, he went down twice in that round, but it was close to the end of the round as well. So luckily for him, it was close to the end of that round. Luckily for me as well, as I had money on Fury, but luckily for him, it was close to the end of the round, so he made it to the end of the round, and then next round he came back out, and Sugar Hill reminded him, look, don't abandon your jab, you got to get back on your jab, big dog. Those were his words. Fury came back out, he got back on his jab, he started, thinking again and not just hunting for the knockout and being greedy, and he got back on the jab, and the jab was setting everything up. Once he started using the jab, Deontay Wilder, in my opinion, had no answers for it, because the jab is a stiff jab, so it backs Deontay Wilder up. Like I say, once Deontay Wilder's on the back foot, he's not the same fighter as he is on the front foot. He hasn't got any answers for Fury's jab. Fury's jab is much superior to his. Started jabbing again, busting Deontay Wilder up with the jab. Wilder was fatigued at that point, which is, everybody was making an issue about Fury hadn't had a proper training camp and this and that. The thing about Fury is he's always had a good engine. He's always had one of the best engines in the heavyweight division. He may not have the body that looks like he has a good engine, but he certainly has one of the best engines in boxing in the heavyweight division for sure. I think the only guy with a better engine than him in the heavyweight division is probably Usyk. Now, Fury's always been able to fight at a high pace. And he's always been a guy that can fight in multiple styles, on the inside or the outside, southpaw or orthodox. So we saw him get on the inside last night, use his size, jab his way on the inside back. Towards the end of the fight, he started using the jab again, getting on the inside and bullying Deontay Wilder on the inside. Tyson Fury is a really good inside fighter. He knows how to use, all the tricks on the inside. He uses his head, he uses his height and size, he leans on you, he pushes you back. He bullies you on the inside. Great body shots from Fury on the inside. I think the thing about it is, this is how I think he's going to have to fight Usyk. He's going to have to get on the inside against Usyk, because in my opinion, he's not going to be able to box with Usyk on the outside due to Usyk's speed advantage. I don't think, in my opinion, if he fights like he did last night, I don't think he's going to have a good night against Alexander Usyk. I think last night was not a great performance from him. I think the layoff did harm Fury, who relies on, his reflexes and his skills and his eyes a lot more than Deontay Wilder. I think he was affected by the 2-year layoff and, the problems he had with his child being born over there, and he didn't get the greatest of training campaign, but he didn't make excuses. Fury, the one thing about Fury is his willpower, his will to win, is you can never question that. And also, he's a fighter that, like he said, when the chips are down, he'll make adjustments, and he'll do what he has to do to get the job done. And he did exactly that last night. But like I say, if he fights like this against Alexander Usyk, I think he's going to have a really tough night. Now, also, this should answer, all the what do you say, the haters or doubters that were saying Fury versus Usyk won't be an exciting fight, because you're going to have 2 counter punches and 2 boxers. It's going to be a chess match for 12 rounds, this and that. It won't be exciting. In my opinion, it'll be one of the most exciting fights in boxing, and is one of the best fights to make in boxing, because I think Fury's going to have to go into that dogfight mode, when he's going to have to try and bulldog Usyk the same way he did Steve Cunningham and he did Deontay Wilder last night. Because in my opinion, Usyk's got the skills and the speed and the boxing fundamentals to outbox Fury on the outside. So I think Fury's going to have to go into dogfight mode, and Fury is one of the best dogfighters in the sport. We've seen him bulldog Deontay Wilder now twice. In my opinion, he beat Deontay Wilder 3 times. So the third fight, in my opinion, was a hell of a fight. It's probably the fight of the year so far. The Usyk-Joshua fight was an exciting fight, but last night's fight was more exciting because obviously there was a little bit more back and forth between the two guys. I know, other than that 1 or 2 rounds that Wilder had a bit of success in, it was all Fury's way. But I mean, because of Wilder's punch power, you're always on the edge of your seat, because as we said in the pre-fight video, Fury is levels above Wilder, but Wilder's always dangerous for every second that he's in the fight, and he was dangerous. He put Fury down twice, showed that he's still a threat in the heavyweight division. But Fury went into dog mode. He got the job done. Bulldog Deontay Wilder badly again. Now, I think he's going to have to try and bulldog Usyk in the fight as well, and I don't think it's going to be nearly as easy with Usyk's footwork and boxing ability. Much better defensively, much better technically, much smarter fighter as well. So I think it'll be a very exciting fight with Fury going to have to try and pull out all the tricks and the stops in the book on the inside, trying to roughhouse Alexander Usyk, who also has a great gas tank. I don't think we'll see Usyk fade like we see Wilder fade. Wilder's a fighter that's not used to fighting at a high pace. He's used to dictating the pace. He also hasn't fought the greatest level of competition. I'd say, other than Fury, his best opponent was probably Ortiz, who also doesn't fight at a high pace due to being over 40 years old and also being a natural counterpuncher. So, it's a tough fight for Deontay Wilder last night. I hope he doesn't retire. I do want to see him still fight a couple contenders and try and see if he can work his way back into title contention. Who knows, maybe down the line we'll get a fourth fight, if Fury's able to come through against Dillian Whyte or Otto Wallen. Whoever wins that fight, then maybe if the Fury Usyk fight happens, and if Deontay Wilder's still around, that could make for another exciting fight. Now, who do you guys want to see Deontay Wilder fight next? I'd really like to see him fight either Andy Ruiz or a Dillian Whyte. I know Dillian Whyte's fighting Wallen and he's in position then to fight Usyk Fury, if he can win that fight. But I'd really like to see Wilder versus Dillian Whyte. I know they've got bad blood, so it'll be an exciting grudge match. Both guys are punchers. Be a really exciting fight in my opinion. I'm now hoping that Usyk comes through against Joshua in the rematch, and we finally get to see an undisputed fight in the heavyweight division between Fury and Usyk. In my opinion, that's the best fight to make in the heavyweight division. Let me know in the comment section below who you want to see Wilder fight next. Fury, obviously, he's got to face the winner of Whyte versus Otto Wallen, which is taking place at the end of the month. That's also a really tough fight for both men. Check that video out. I did that video about a week ago. Also, guys, let me know in the comment section how you saw the fight last night. Great fight, probably fight of the year. And let me know who you want to see both fighters fight next. Also, could you please hit the like and subscribe if you're new to the channel? That would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for listening. Talk to me in the comment section below. Let me know how you saw last night's fight go. Thanks for listening. Talk to you guys again soon. Cheers.